Good morning, afternoon or evening. Time for my next episode. This is a slightly longer video about the UK and how data and AI are changing what is available. We started as one report and framework, and it has become an interconnected set of working frameworks. The Data Ethics Framework set out in 2020 as a guide for appropriate and responsible data use in government and the wider public sector. And it helps public servants sort of understand that ethical consideration and addresses this within projects and encourages responsible innovation. Then the National Data Strategy was released in 2021, and that aimed to drive the collective vision in the UK to build a world-leading data economy. It is to ensure that people, businesses and organisations trust the data ecosystem, and that people are skilled and they get access to the data when they need it. And the strategy aims to have an holistic picture across government and how data is used. The National AI Strategy builds on the UK's strengths, but also represents the start of a step change in AI in the UK and recognises that sort of power of AI and how it increases resilience, productivity, growth and innovation across private and public sector. And then we see the launch of this generative AI framework that was published as initial guidance in June 2023, with this current expanded framework in 24, providing sort of those practical considerations for anyone planning or developing generative AI solutions and to unlock those significant productivity benefits. And the data ethics framework is split into overarching principles and specific actions. Overarching principles are applicable throughout that entire process and underpin sort of like all actions and aspects on the project. Now, thinking about those specific actions and how those guide you through those different stages of the project and provide sort of practical considerations. And in addition, the framework provides sort of specific actions you can take at each stage of the project to sort of advance that transparency, accountability and fairness. And when we think about how the government has defined transparency, this sort of means that your actions, processes and data are made open to inspection by sort of publishing information about the project in a complete, open and understandable and really accessible sort of free format. Then accountability, they think about that as effective governance and oversight methods for any project. And fairness, that crucial element to your project, having that potential to think about those unattended, discriminatory effects on sort of people or social groups, and how you think about mitigating biases that might influence models or outcomes to ensure that the people get that respect and dignity and that they're non-discriminatory and consistent within the public interest really, and thinking about people's like human rights or democratic values. The National Data Strategy is based around a number of interconnected issues that currently prevent the best use of data in the UK. These are core pillars of the strategy: data foundations, thinking about that true value of data and how that is realised and made fit for purpose, and how it has those standardised formats, and how we future-proof systems and make that data, I suppose, findable, accessible, and we think about whether it's interoperable and reusable. Then data skills, making the best use of this data that we have and drawing on that. Means delivering the right skills right the way through sort of the different teams and through education programs. And data availability, to have the most effective impact and how we make that appropriate, accessible, mobile and reusable. and also making sure that the data is good for sharing and appropriate quality between sort of different organisations for public, private and third sectors. Then looking at that responsible data and how we drive that increased use of data and how that is used responsibly, lawfully, sort of fairly, ethically, sustainably and accountable. And how we even think about that being supported in innovation and research. And the UK National Artificial Intelligence Strategy has sort of three core pillars: investing in long-term needs of the AI ecosystem, ensuring AI benefits all sectors and regions, and then looking at governing AI effectively. This framework for generative AI differs from other technology guidance that the government has produced, and it's necessarily incomplete and dynamic. I mean, the field of generative AI is developing rapidly, and best practices in lots of these areas have not yet emerged. And we'll kind of see how this sort of changes over time. And the documentation is specifically dynamic to enable us to adopt those sort of new practices that are obviously going to emerge as we gain a better understanding of how generative AI develops. There is another new regulatory framework for government for AI assurance. And that is an important aspect of that broader AI governance and a key pillar to support organisations to help them operationalise and sort of implement across sort of regulatory principles and practices. And there was an introductory paper last year about this called a pro-innovation approach to AI regulation, and that outlines those 5 cross-cutting regulatory principles which underpin sort of regulatory information, and that helps bring sort of principles into practice. And as AI sort of becomes increasingly prevalent across all sort of sectors in the economy, it's essential that AI becomes really well governed. Now, the term assurance that they're talking about was originally derived from accountancy, but it has since been adapted to cover many areas, including sort of cybersecurity and quality management. So it's about ensuring that trustworthiness of AI systems, thinking about safety, security and robustness, looking at appropriate transparency and explainability, fairness, accountability and governance, and that contestability and redress. And this regulatory framework for assurance will play a critical role in implementation and sort of operationalisation of sort of these sort of core principles as the time sort of progresses. The Bletchley Park Summit in 2023 looked at AI safety and discussed the ever-evolving changes to AI landscape. And as our understanding grows, we need to evolve practices, procedures and technology to aid and produce good for all. Now, 28 countries attended, and it was a chance to gain international shared understanding and agree on safe and responsible AI development in the frontier of AI. It will be interesting to see all the guidelines created from the Bletchley Park AI Summit. It is worth noting there is a home for AI standards community, and it's a dedicated place for knowledge sharing, capacity building and world-leading research. I mean, the hub aims to build a vibrant and diverse community around AI standards. So it'll be interesting to see how the content grows that can help us on our AI quest. And the AI Standards Hub work is structured around 4 pillars, and these are reflected in various features in the Hub's interactive online platform, as well as in a programme of live and in-person activities. And thinking about an observability pillar, community and collaboration, and then thinking about that knowledge and training, and the 4th pillar is that research and analysis area. Thank you for watching and seeing how the UK is creating a whole set of guidelines for AI and how that works. And I'll see you next time.